Good morning. Hit that like button, subscribe, support the channel. Hashtag Focus Daily TV. Today we're going to get right into it. What does corporate and corporation has to do with all of this information that I'm presenting? The thing is, you were once a living, breathing entity, a child of God as Afro-Americans. But due to the 13th and 14th Amendment, you were crucified and corporate entities were resurrected into your position. The talking dead. Literally, you out there, you are the talking dead today. Many corporations, conspiracy theory wise, known as straw man. Let's get into it. We're going to do a little reading today. Let's see if my reading is up to par. It's going to be short and sweet and to the point as usual. Search Lab AI technology says the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution grants corporations certain rights, including equal protection and due process. So the 14th Amendment gave citizenship to corporate entities, to the talking dead. It turned the living into dead corporate entities trapped deep within the belly of the corporate beast. The amendment states, let's continue reading, no state shall deprive any person of liberty, life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person the equal protection of the laws. In these certain situations, persons are classified as businesses. You're going to have to Google that one, the definition of that one. Person is another word for business or corporation. The equal protection of the law. Okay, let's continue reading. The Supreme Court has ruled that corporations are persons under the Equal Protection Clause, and former Senator Roscoe Conkling, who helped draft the 14th Amendment, is credited with extending this protection to corporations. Really, Roscoe? You're going to have to answer for that, Roscoe. Okay, we're going to go a little bit more into it. Let's scroll down here to what they call Wikipedia. Corporate personhood. Hang in now. We were just reading. Today. Let's get up here to the intro. In the early history. We're going to start right here. Corporate personhood or juridical personality, is a legal notion that a juridical person, such as a corporation, there go those two words linked together again, person, corporation, McDonald's, separately from its associated human being. So they didn't separate you from your identity as a living human being. They crucified that living human being, especially as Afro-Americans, and resurrected a straw man in your position, making you a corporate citizen, basically like an employee of a giant corporation known as the United States, who lives, breathes, and dies within that corporation. Once again, that great beast whose belly my people and many other people find themselves trapped within today. By my people, once again, I mean African Americans, Pookie and Ray Ray them. These are actually the children of God that the Bible speaks of. Israel, Jerusalem. Continue reading. Like owners, managers, or employees, there you go, has at least some of its legal rights and responsibilities enjoyed by natural persons. In most countries, corporation has the same rights as a natural person to hold property, enter contracts, and to be sued or to sue. So, corporate entities replace natural persons. That's what the registration and misclassification was about. Turning your flesh into biological property. We talked about that yesterday. All right, let's get to a little short film today. We're ain't gonna go deep into the reading. If you want to read and educate yourself with wisdom and knowledge, Wikipedia, corporate personhood. There you go, right there. Get to it. Let's see what these corporations have to say.
You wrote recently about the issue with the 14th Amendment, which I assumed was just a uniformly good thing.
Yeah.
It forced into law the idea that a corporation is a person with personhood.
Yeah, it's the craziest story. I couldn't believe I'd never heard before. And so the truth is the 14th Amendment was famously, the 13th and 14th were at the end of the Civil War and were about freeing the slaves and granting citizenship and status to.
Yeah, it was about freeing slaves, the foreign slaves who were allowed to conduct business, but ultimately they were servants of the true birthright holders of this land. All of a sudden, civil war or a coup took place in the late 1800s, the early 1900s. They began to strip us of our God-giving rights and abilities. But that's another thing. Let's continue seeing what these corporations have
former
to say.
enslaved persons.
Right, good stuff.
Great stuff. But, and this is the weird, the truth is the 14th Amendment was famously, the 13th and 14th were at the end of the Civil War and were about freeing the slaves and granting citizenship and status to former enslaved persons.
Right, good stuff.
Great stuff. But, and this is the weird thing, because even what you said isn't true. It's not that the 14th Amendment guaranteed those same rights of personhood to corporations. It wasn't until 10 or 15 years after it was passed in like 1866 or whenever it was, that there was a different, completely freestanding lawsuit.
So that was his original intentions to turn us all into corporate assets. But the way history scribbled it down on paper may cause it to be a tad bit confusing, but we're going to continue to listen to what this corporation has to say.
On behalf of Leland Stanford, who's the founder of Stanford University, he was the robber baron railroad guys, and there was going to be a tax on his railroad. And basically, this guy who was a judge, was going to be in the Supreme Court, ended up just being a lawyer and arguing for him, took on the case and then said, oh, by the way, 10, 15 years ago, when that Supreme Court passed the 14th Amendment, I was the clerk. So I was there. All those other guys are dead now.
All theatrics and proper propaganda, all enacted in order so the public can witness and gain a vague understanding of the true meaning of the 14th Amendment, the true meaning of being a 14th Amendment citizens, where the talking and walking dead run things or live this corporate American life.
No. But here's the deal. Let me tell you what they meant when they said persons. What they meant, they changed it from individuals or people to persons, because what they meant was to include corporations. And since the railroad, the Stanford Railroad Corporation is a person, we're subject to the same rights and protections, so you can't tax us. He fudged it. He even produced a little black book saying, see, this is in my diary. It says so. It didn't. And they ran him out of town. They said, you're an absolute bum.
See, there you go. All you got to do is just pay attention a little bit. Put your discernment cap on tight, and it will all become so clear. Hit that like button. Go ahead right now. Hit that subscribe button for sure. We need to get these subscriptions up. And if you feel so inclined, support the channel. # Focus Daily TV. Let us move on.
Young guy, but the law clerk recorded it, even though it didn't even work as legal precedent 12 years later. The law clerk recorded it as if it had. And then that recording got dredged up another 10 years later. So now you're into like the 20th century, you're like 1910, 1920. And the Supreme Court held
what I've been telling y'all.
32
late 1800s, early 1900s, everything changed. Everybody talk about New World Order. The New World Order been in effect. Go get a late pass.
cases or something
Step.
like that on the actual 14th Amendment, informing the rights of free black persons to have better treatment under the law. They sat 247 defending corporations with the rights of personhood. So you're like, wait a second, the entire thing about, and then even today, Citizens United, right, which was the Supreme Court decision on dark money.
That makes the Corporation of America itself a citizen. And that is the beast that you find yourself deep in the belly of. Hope that makes sense. We're going to roll on.
Money into politics, which basically has just blown up the last decade of American politics, because now any fat cat corporation, any PAC can just fund infinitely and don't have to say who we are as we buy the votes of American democracy, because our free speech as a person is protected. So you're like, oh shit, this has had some gnarly knock-on effects. And it wasn't even the judicial intent at the time. It was a lie on top of a lie on top of a typo.
That's the lie. That was the intent the whole time. But since many lost sight of the laws of the Father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of the Bible, it was hard for them to see and understand what was truly going on. But once again, that was all written, folks. And the only way to get out of any of this is through Christ. Let's roll on.
That then just got picked up and run with and given us not only American case law, corporate case law for the 20th and 21st century, but really now the precedent for the entire world's protection of corporations. So it's the most upside down thing.
The whole world is under that. Thank y'all for choosing. Excuse me. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Focus Daily TV. As always, hit that like button, subscribe, support the channel. We out.